Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes. Hey, this is Mike with the Quivercasts, brought to you by quiverbuilder.com, an online community where you buy, sell, and surf for your next magic board. Hey guys, we're back at Mike Cottrell's pad with the second half of the interview. Woo! All right, long story short.
I got a funny one. This is kind of like a PG-13 story. I was babysitting my sister's kids.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Above the harbor at South Jetty. Basically, I live in Capistrano area. That's where my sister lives. And me and my friend Steve Sines, we got a hold of some really good weed, and we kept smoking it. And we kept going out to the front porch to look at the waves, and it was good, and it was good. And we're watching the kids, and one of them was like 6 months old, and one was about a year and a half. But they're sleeping, right? So we keep smoking, and the waves keep looking better. And well, bottom line is we forgot about the kids. We paddled out, and I was kind of just jiving with the local guys at that time. It was early mid-'80s. South Jetty was a pretty good day where it was low tide, where you can actually walk out to the end of the rocks and be parallel with the surfers that were out.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, and we're all stoned, but we're surfing, and I see all these people on the jetty, and there's this lady yelling, and my friend looks over at me, and there's this guy out in the water, and he's like, "Hey, what are those people yelling at?" And it's my whole family holding the babies. It's like my mother, my brother-in-law, my sister, my aunt, my dad. I mean, it was like a full cluster.
That's so
and
funny.
I said, "Oh man," my friend looked at me and he goes, "The kids," and we had forgotten. Maybe because of that, I got to surf more because I was never asked to babysit again.
Yeah. You eliminated yourself from that job.
It's not easy being the black sheep.
But at least
Mom, if you're listening to this, and Macy, if you're listening to this, I am still honestly super sorry that happened. I love you, and those children now have children, and it's just, I apologize from the bottom.
How old were you then?
Well, we don't need to go there.
Okay. You're younger.
Yeah, we don't need to go there.
Yeah, that story's classic.
Yeah, South Jetty drama is what that was.
When you paddle out South Jetty, how often does that memory come back to you? So do you think they're hooting for you? Like, dude, that guy's, like, you're scoring a wave and they're all, woo!
No, there was a guy. No, there was a guy, he's like, "What's that lady yelling at?" And I'm like looking, and I'm like not really paying attention, There's usually, sometimes there's people on the rocks.
Okay. Yeah.
And my friend looked over me, he goes, "The kids," and my mom, when my mom gets mad, man, she's got like a sailor's mouth. She gets nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the sweetest lady. I love my mom, but man, when she gets upset, you don't mess with her. She's firm and to the point, and she let me have it like right to my face. And oh man, it was a long weekend,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about boards a little bit. If you could have, like, maybe a board that, I don't know, like someone that's passed away, or if there's some shaper out there now that's maybe one of the French guys that are shaping, or the Maurice guy or whatever, what board would you want? Like, what would be your all-time, like, perfect epic board that maybe you'd ride once and then put it on the wall, collectible?
Oh, that's a hard one to say, but
Any era, from surfing till today, from the beginning of surfing, modern surfing, I should say.
I don't know, maybe a lightning bolt board that was ridden by Jackie Dunn.
Oh, okay.
Like mid-'70s, red lightning bolt,
Single fin?
Yeah. That's what all those things were. And
Big old, like, pintail kind of.
yeah, I know Jackie, and it would be something that I would cherish that board. It would be cool. That'd be a cool board to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the classics. So you're saying like 70s boards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I do have a Brian Bulkley downstairs.
Let's talk about that board. You showed it to me.
It's a Brian Buckley. It's a 9.2. It's shaped for like big totos and what have you, and it's probably the last Clark foam board ever made. At least that's what it says on the stringer. And
how'd you get a hold of that board? Was it shaped for you?
no, not at all.
Okay.
I went to this like random surf shop on Hill Street.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it Hill Street.
Okay. I know Hill Street.
I got it for a few $100. The guy gave me a deal, and I just walked away with it. Never rode it. It just sits there.
It just sits on the corner of your house.
Just sits there. Yeah.
And you gotta. Well, my opinion is you should paddle it out somewhere. One that's big enough. It's a big board. How big's that board?
It's a 9.2.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
What could it handle? Give me a wave name. Todos?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Waimea?
Uh-huh.
What about Mavericks? Do you have any desire to surf Mavericks?
No, because I'm not a real big wave surfer. I like to surf like 6 to 8 foot proper, 15-foot face surf. That's like the style of waves that I like. I like perfect waves.
So you're not looking for just a big old fat wave drop in?
Yeah.
You're looking for like
nice
hollow. You like hollow sections?
Yeah, I like nice solid waves. Like Indonesia's beautiful.
Okay, so how's Indo?
Indo's nice. Yeah.
Give us your take on Indo. Where do you surf in Indo?
Oh, I haven't been lately, but just recently we were there, and it's funny that you say that. A lot of people, I saw a lot of things on the internet about how people were saying that they were the last people in the Mentawais.
Weren't you stuck in?
Yeah, like
COVID?
I keep saying, like, how could you guys be the last when we were the last? We got we got back, like, I left there on March 17th.
Okay.
And got back like early April. So like, I don't know. There was nobody there, and we got in trouble, and we got kicked out. And
so how do you wait? You get kicked out of where?
Well, you're supposed to check in with the harbor master, something like that. I came up with this crazy idea I was in cahoots with one of the boat owners, my friend DK, and I says, why don't we just go south, act like we never knew, and then we'll track back.
You're talking about, so there is a lockdown at this point. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it shut off on the 19th.
Okay.
Australia closed, everywhere closed, Singapore closed.
So you had to be back into your home country by...
No, it wasn't that. It's they closed off the Mentawais. There's little places now. Back when I first started going there in the 90s or early 2000s, there was no land camps there.
Okay.
But now there's land camps, and they were all boarded up. Nobody was staying at the land camps.
Okay.
They don't want to strain getting there and so forth.
It would wipe out probably a lot of people.
Yes. So what we did was we ended up going, all the way south into those waves, which get the most swell. And then when we tracked back, we saw a guy waving on the beach. We're like, wow, what's that guy doing? I had just got done surfing, and our only guy that spoke Mentawai was out trolling in the small fishing boat. So he boards our boat thinking that we just completely went anarchy. We didn't care about any of the rules.
Okay.
He's yelling at our boat captain, telling us to go back to the harbor master, in the middle of the night. And, it was a long night, man. I told my friend Tony, I says, listen, man, drink bottled water, charge your phone, send out an SOS if you can, because this could get ugly, man. It's like a locked up abroad situation. Yeah.
So how'd it turn out?
Well, it ends up that they closed off Singapore. Padang stayed open. We got from Padang to Jakarta.
Okay.
And then we ended up going through Narita, Japan, which is usually packed with people.
Okay.
And there was nobody there. It was really weird because they were, getting ready to host the Olympics, and Olympic training was going on during that time.
Yeah.
So there was just nobody there, and we ended up getting back. I mean, bottom line is we got back here, and as soon as we got back here, they didn't even really check us. I went through like COVID spray tents and all kinds of weird testing overseas in these little faraway airports, and when I got back here, it was just like, okay, you're in, buddy. Enjoy.
What were the waves like when you were there? Was it worth all?
Yeah, it's always worth it. And we had a bunch of pals with us. It was a real good time. It was good. Yeah, it's always fun there. We didn't get the big swells like we wanted to, but even when it's small there, it's real nice.
What's small?
Head high? Yeah, it was head high, and there we got a couple.
Super rippable?
We got a couple prime days and no crowds whatsoever.
Just because were the crowds because you got lucky, or was it because of COVID?
Because of COVID.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the COVID crowds out here, out in front of your house? Has it changed over the last 9 months?
Yeah, but I try not to let that get to me. Like when the waves come up, I usually go elsewhere down the coast a little bit, and I try to surfing, like I was telling you before, it's been so good to me that, I mean, I can't come out and cry about crowds, It's nice. It's duck dive, open your eyes underwater, enjoy the nature,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the COVID crowd, I'm just saying from my experience, you open your eye, hopefully some Barney's not letting his board go right in front of you. But just saying, you gotta look twice now. The crowds have really thickened up.
Yeah, I try to surf a little bit, probably a little bit down the beach a little bit. Kind of like when I first started surfing. I think that rule kind of kept with me personally. I'm not a big crowd surfer. And if I do surf a crowd, it's usually the people that I know, and it appears to be a crowd, but it's not really a crowd. You guys are
kind of dominating your own peak and just hooting each other on.
I don't know about dominating, but yeah, we're out there just having fun. Yeah, we're just out there having fun.
Probably dominating, by the way. Okay, what about Southern California surfing versus elsewhere in the world? It's so different. There's a lot of reefs, and it depends where you're going. But about you ever go to East Coast or? I have.
I've been to the East Coast, and
do you think it's similar to Southern California, wave wise?
Nah, not that I've seen. I've seen some videos in the recent past. Virginia Beach.
Okay.
I've been to to the
I've
North Carolina area. I think it's beautiful. I think the people are great.
Outer Banks. I heard Outer Banks just pumps.
It's funny that you say that. It's more the people that I've met from the East Coast traveling around. Like, I surfed in Puerto Rico, and a lot of people from the East Coast were there, and the waves were pumping, and everybody was really cool, and it was good vibes. And
Isn't that wave gas chambers? Is that?
Yes.
That wave looks pretty good.
I've never surfed it, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
But we surfed a lot of other places, but it was nice.
So is Puerto Rico like the East Coast Hawaii?
Oh, yeah.
That's where they go?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, Mike, I have a question. What do you get out of surfing? What does surfing mean to you? What does it do for you?
Okay, well, it keeps me healthy.
Okay.
It keeps my brain wired right. It's definitely a spiritual experience. I've been in the water my whole life, and I love to surf. Even when it's small and crummy and rainy and windy, I like to be out. I like the way I feel after I get out of the water. I like the way that I feel in the water. I love, a lot of the times the camaraderie out there, the people that I see, the people that I know. It's a really gratifying thing to do. Some people say it's a selfish act, but it doesn't always have to be that way. I mean, you can go surf, you can encourage people. You can be cool to people in the water. You can there's rules that sometimes aren't being...
etiquette you're talking about?
Yeah, and sometimes you can explain to somebody etiquette like somebody explained to me before,
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, if somebody's going, don't paddle for it because they're already going,
Did they say it nice to you like that, or they yell at you? See, from my experience, I got yelled at. And that's how I learned. I ain't doing that again. You get some crusty old 40-year-old, and I'm 10 years old. I'm like, bro. So nowadays, we're giving more respect to all the beginners. Mm-hmm. And you got a lot of more adult beginners.
Yes.
So when I was a kid, there was the kids, and then you see the different generations, and then you had the crusty old 40-year-old guys.
Sure.
And then in the late 80s, I'm saying, no one was longboarding, and then all of a sudden, now you have longboarders. You get these guys that haven't surfed in 15, 20 years. They all, I don't know, got reinvented and decided they needed something else in their life besides going to work and drinking beer, I'm guessing. So it's changed the whole, it's changed surfing forever.
Well,
longboard coming back.
Well, you're probably talking to the wrong guy about hating on longboarders. I don't longboard, but...
I'm not hating on longboarders. I longboard too. I ride everything. But have you been to Doheny? Have you been out to...
I don't go to the... I don't really know. I try to kind of steer my way to places that have a little bit more wave action to them. And if somebody's... I don't really care what somebody's riding.
Right.
I actually enjoy body surfing as much as surfing.
I love body surfing.
There you go.
The South Slope, right out here at high tide, so fun. I call it Coins. There's a little parking lot in the middle right here. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole summer my son was doing junior lifeguards that, we'd put 5 quarters in, which is the hour. We had these little hand planes. Dude, we're charging, getting the best, like, barrels, like, way better barrels than you can surf because it's all mushy outside.
Sure,
but,
sure.
you know, that inside section would you be throwing out. So,
I mean,
anyway,
I still see like you know, people that are just starting surfing, like in the summer.
Okay.
I'll surf on the
Are
military
you encouraging
base.
them?
Yeah. I just say be careful and what have you. And there was a time where I surfed on the military base as a kid, where like barely anybody surfed there, and it was when I saw somebody, I would be like, go up to them, hey, how's it going? My name's Mike. You know, what's going on? And they would be like, Colonel Johnson's son, and we'd become friends, and I'd see them again, maybe or maybe not ever again, you know, because of the traveling military people in this area, and I don't know, you know. So,
in today's world, you got a lot of late takers of surfing. They're just getting into it, and they're in their 30s and 40s.
Sure.
And they don't understand the proper etiquette of how it works. I try to explain it to them myself, but you're like, you got the aloha spirit. You're being cool. With
what can you do? I mean, you know, if they're an adult, you're not like their dad.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
but they can be dangerous.
But half the time they're not going to listen anyways.
Right.
And then half the time you're going to come across as an asshole. So it's like, I don't really. So I'll just kind of like
around them.
Yeah, I'll just kind of go and find my own little zone or something, you know. I'm not out there to create any bad vibes. Surfing's, like I said, it's been too good to me my whole life to let people get to you.
And surfing never becomes a job. It's pure pleasure for you, right?
Pure pleasure.
You never be like, Joe called me, I got to go paddle out because he wants me to go. You'll be like either into it or.
Well, I make commitment to friends sometimes.
Were you bummed out you did?
But you got to do it because, like, if they told you we're going to paddle out at whatever 6:30 and it's cold and it's crummier than you thought, well, they committed and you gotta sink with the ship, you know.
Well, here you can check it all day. Yeah. So if it's kind of ugly, you can give it a couple hours and the time might change and the wind might change and you're stoked.
It's usually best here in the mornings.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's the wind is the wind is the wind.
Okay, so Mike.
Hey.
What were your early influences in skate? Who were the guys you looking up to? What made you want to skate? And who were they?
All right, so my early influences were like people around the neighborhood jamming around on sidewalks and stuff. But as I started to ride the bowls and started to get to the skate parks, some of my early influences were a lot of the guys at Skate City Skate Park in Whittier.
Okay.
And man, those guys ended up being like some of the best guys. It was crazy.
Got some names?
Yeah. Well, my pal Richard Armijo has always helped me out, and he was the best of the best of the best. John Lucero helped me out a lot, giving me boards back in the day when we were just, basically in school together, and watching guys like Neil Blender and Lance Mountain, and that whole group of guys at that park were good. And then I'd come down to Del Mar, watch the guys there. I rode Oasis down here in San Diego.
Okay.
That was pretty wild.
And were you competing at this point?
I was just a kid doing the bowl contest and not taking it seriously, just going with my friends and just jamming around the bowls, learning board slides and rock and rolls and inverts and just, listening to music. And that's where...
What were the musical influences for you?
Music.
Did the music motivate you to get in the pool?
Oh, yeah, man.
It has to go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, I used to love to do the bull riding, and then the song Six Pack would come on by Black Flag, and I loved all the bands. And, back in the early 80s, we would go to all the punk shows, and all the bands used to play together, TSOL, The Adolescents, Lost Cause, The Crowd. Like, a lot of them would actually play together. So you would see, 5 bands sometimes or 4 bands in one night, and it was real good times. And and then the early English bands came along, and that was good too. Like seeing GBH and the Subhumans and stuff like that was really, really, really cool. That year was about 83. And then I remember when Suicidal Tendencies came around in about 1983, Olympic Auditorium, and we used to go to the Cathay de Grand and the Olympic Auditorium and Palladium and Perkins Palace. Discharge at Perkins Palace was an insane show. Yeah, that was all early 80s, and that was all based off of the music that we listened to in skating. And I had a friend that I grew up with skateboarding. His name was John Guerreri. He's a real good guy. But everything, we used to go everywhere together, and he used to take me, and it was just a real good time, man. Guys like Lucero would go, and Hag Up Nigerian, and Richard, and it was a good crew that we used to go to shows with.
So it sounds like all the punk bands. So were you a punker? Would you consider yourself a punker or a skater, or were they the same people? Or were there two different crowds kind of going?
No, I was just into the punk music. I love the energy, and I love the energy of a skate session going on with good music going on, and I still do. You know, sometimes we still have these. We'll have a party at the Pink Motel down in like the Hollywood area, and we'll still jam with. You know, last time I skated there, JFA played. It was awesome, and it was fun to. It's fun to get out there and still skate with a lot of the guys that are still skating and still skating good, and it's.
What about that party in Carlsbad?
Oh yeah, my buddy Bill Billing had a party at Carlsbad. It was so cool.
It really was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, Agent Orange played on the deck. Yeah, it was cool. You know, it was
full
nice.
Southern California show, right?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, Mike Palm jamming, you know, Bloodstains while we're doing our tricks on the ramp, and it was just a good energy. And that whole Old Bro crew is really cool, you know, with the Marker and Bill Billing and Aaron and DK and that whole group of guys. And there's a group of backyard pool skaters here in Oceanside that are really, really gnarly guys that skate at, you know, Barefoot Mike's on these parties. And there's just a whole slew of guys that are really, really, really good skaters and just good to be around. And it's a good vibe. It's a lot of energy going on. It's nice.
So now versus that, what were your influences for surfing? Since you're already a skater that got into surfing, were you watching like surf videos and you saw who'd you see, or who were your influences in surfing?
Well, my influences in surfing,
which is a total different vibe than skating.
Yeah, early growing up, you know, I would see the guys around here in Oceanside. I would see guys like Jack Baisley and a lot of those guys, Joey and Barr, and a lot of the local guys were good, you know. And I would stay off to the side, you know. I was just a kid. And then when I went over to the early years in Hawaii, I would watch those guys surf, and I got to, you know, see Hans Hedemann and Marvin Foster and Dane Kealoha and Johnny Boy Gomes and a lot of the power surfers. I got to see the guys that did real crazy rail work. And it was pretty big influence watching guys like Tony Moniz surfing huge Laniakea. You know, you're a kid, you're scared in the channel, and you're watching it, and it's, you know, it's the real deal. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I feel lucky and blessed to be kind of been in like both worlds at once, or all three worlds in once, because like I was surfing here, I was surfing there, and I was skating here, and I was skating there, and yeah.
Yeah. So at such a young age, you had it all. I mean, you did two whole completely different lifestyles, but you seem to be able to. I don't know how you would even handle it.
Well,
I grew up, not enough hours in the day. It seems like.
I grew up in a family that was kind of like a wild '70s rock and roll family. My parents took me to go see David Bowie. Was my first concert in 1974. I was like 6 years old or 7. You know, so growing up in a family like that was like it was pretty loose, and you're able to travel and kind of have a free spirit. And I was able to, you know, dream big and be able to kind of live out what I wanted to do in my life. Yeah.
So even though your parents didn't surf or skate, they gave you a pat in the butt saying it's okay to go do it, and that was the way to.
Well, yeah, I kind of like turned into like my own choices at that time. I had a group of friends that I would go and.
Older kids?
Yeah, mostly older people. Yeah, but yeah, it was nice. It was a good life. Let me tell you.
What's the first age when you went to Hawaii? How old are you?
I think I was about 12.
Really?
Yeah.
And were you staying in town? What were you doing in Hawaii? Were you there just to surf, or were you on vacation and surfed?
Both. I was a kid, and I remember going out at Sunset Beach. It seemed like it was giant, but it was probably like 6 feet. My leash broke, the whole 9 yards.
You had to swim in?
Yeah, I had to swim in, and
Sounds gnarly.
Went out in some other waves and just had fun and just kind of captured I love the clear water, the warm water, and it was real nice. Yeah.
I mean, these times you had cannot be replaced by anything. Like, you're living the life that everyone wants to live.
Yeah, I actually finished up high school in Hawaii.
Really?
I turned in my homework assignments at Kahuku High School, and when I got back here, I was on the independent study program where I wrote about my times over there, and they passed me, and I got a diploma.
So what's the graduating school?
The graduating school is actually El Camino High School here.
Okay.
But, I was turning in my work there via fax machine.
Wow.
It was before cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's trippy. That's kind of really weird.
Yeah.
Who are some of the guys you surf with in Hawaii and your big influences there?
Are
your buddies that you surf with your influences? Or is there, besides the Tony Monises?
Well, some of them were my buddies, but mostly were the guys that I would see out there. Okay. I would mostly just go out by myself and kind of hang off to the side and kind of get scraps. But when you do that, you end up knowing people. Wayne Boy Victorano was a good friend of mine, and he took me to different places, him being a local guy living in town. He got me out of trouble with Junior Mopino at V-Land when I was a kid. Just seeing all the guys and then just becoming eventually getting head nods from people like, it's okay, you're out here kind of thing.
Yeah.
I never tried to be somebody I was not. I never wanted to be kiss butt with people that were like the heavy local people.
Right.
Although I did respect their water tactics and their waterman tendencies, but I just wanted to go surfing. I just love surfing, I just like to be out there.
Pure
in the
love.
water. Yeah.
So, at sunset, let's go back to that story because that's a good story. What was the swim in like? I mean, were you getting like?
It wasn't that big. It wasn't like this crazy treacherous swim that I'm not gonna tell you some crazy. No, yeah. It was crazy for a 12-year-old kid, at that time, because back then a lot of the kids weren't surfing in the bigger waves. But I just kind of told me a long time ago, find the whitewash, don't go to the channel, and you end up near Val's Reef, and then you end up in the shore. So that's what happened. It wasn't some crazy far-fetched story or anything.
So you liking a little larger surf now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that early Hawaiian water time has made you who you are today? Helped?
It helped for sure, but I've always been that kid. When I was a kid, I wanted to jump off a jump, and when I rode the bowls, I didn't want to ride the little bowl, and I never wanted to ride the street stuff. I wanted to ride bowls, and it's just who you are sometimes, I guess.
And with all that being said, did you work your way up the ladder on this, or did you just?
Yeah,
were you always the kid that just dropped in on a 10-foot board?
No. You work your way up. I've always been.
You weren't stupid about it.
Yeah, I've been stupid, but I'm not. No, I'm not stupid about it. Even like tomorrow, the waves are supposed to be big, but I got a bad knee from last big swell, and I don't think I'm going to go where I think the waves are going to be pumping. I'm just going to surf out front and whatever.
Yeah,
should be good, but no.
I think it's going to be really good out front.
Yeah,
you're going to score.
Oh, and you were asking me about some of my skate influences, man.
Yeah,
back to that. Those guys were like so awesome in the camaraderie and like everything like. And my surf influences now are people that just love to surf, Like I love surfing with my friend Billy Hooper. I love surfing with big wave legend Igor Lumeritz. I love surfing with Sergi and Aaron. And I love to surf with a lot of the people that I just see out in the water on a regular basis. Harbor Bill. A lot of the people, guys from around here, I love to see them from time to time. I don't see them that much. Derek Bockelman and Jason and those guys, they're just really good surfers with really good heads on their shoulders. I appreciate everything that they've ever given me, so.
You have any last words you'd like to, any shout outs to anybody or anything?
Nah, man, just shout out to my parents for being cool, lean, and loose with me. And shout out to my family. I love my family. I have children and I have stepchildren and we have grandchildren and we're real blessed. We feel real good. And, a shout out to Paul Pow Pow. He's our pastor here in Oceanside and he's the one who married my wife and I. And He's the one I go to for spiritual advice if needed, and I should go to him when I don't need spiritual advice, to be honest with you. But everything's good, and thanks for coming over and having me. And
Dude,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
really
it was
appreciate
so fun.
it. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed myself, and I love it where you live, and you're living the vacation lifestyle on an everyday basis.
Well, it's not every day because I have a job, so thank you.
You still get to open the window.
All right.
And look outside. So thanks again, Mike, for coming on Quivercast. This is Mike signing off, and Mike Cottrell, thank you very much.
All right, peace out.
Thanks, man. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. And new music is brought to you by Sal Pedroza. Thanks, Sal. Also brought to you by quiverbuilder.com, an online community where you buy, sell, surf for your next magic board. And I'll see you in the lineup. Hey, you guys, Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic, numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You will literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. There's so much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.